This is not your typical spring market in Hamilton. Inventory is surging, competition is dropping, and sellers are starting to panic. If you're a first-time buyer, this could be your window to get into the market on your terms. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the latest Hamilton market numbers, explaining what's behind the shift, and show you where the best buying opportunities are right now so that you can make a confident decision and avoid making expensive mistakes. The numbers from May are in, and not surprising at this point, the Hamilton market is continuing to cool. In May, there were 568 home sales, which is down about 13% year over year, but it was a little bit higher than what we had in April. We also had the number of new listings jump to 1,449, putting the total number of active homes on the market right now to 2,356. This gives us about 4.1 months of supply, which is quite a jump from the same time last year. All right, that was a bunch of boring numbers, but what does it actually mean for you? Well, depending on how you define a buyer's market, I would personally argue that this qualifies as one. Especially in certain areas of Hamilton, sellers are starting to feel the pressure as homes are sitting longer. The average time it takes for a home to sell is up 35% compared to the same time last year. Now, when it comes to the overall price, we saw the average price in Hamilton dip slightly between April and May. In April, it was $791,000, and now it's gone down to about $777,000. So we're about 15K lower. It's not a huge drop, but it's not nothing either. Prices aren't necessarily in a free fall. They're kind of just slowly chipping away. Now, for reference, last year in May, average home prices were $817,000 in Hamilton. So it looks like some pretty good savings there. No, but in all seriousness, this does give buyers a bit more room to negotiate and helps with the affordability side of things. A lot of buyers have hit pause, not because they've given up on buying a home, but because they're unsure about what happens next. Interest rates, economic headlines, political noise, what else is there? Potentially World War III starting. That wouldn't be good. I don't want that last one, especially because I'm fighting age and I don't really feel like getting drafted. But anyways, nobody can deny that there's a lot of uncertainty right now. But here's the thing. This moment of pause is exactly when the sharpest buyers make their move. When the market is quiet like this, you're not competing with dozens of other buyers like you were a couple years ago. More listings on the market means you have more options to choose from, greater likelihood that you're going to actually find the home that you're going to like, and the sellers are more open to negotiation because you're the only offer that they got. And it's not just about getting a better price, although that is a factor as well, but it's also about getting better flexibility around your closing and actually having the ability to think during your showings and not feeling rushed. If you've been sitting on the sidelines, now is the time to start doing your homework, get your financing lined up, and get ready to act when the perfect property comes up. While others are waiting for the perfect time to come, which, spoiler alert, it's never going to come. There's never going to be a perfect time. While others are waiting for that, you can be locking up a deal right now with all this leverage that you just don't get in a red hot market. All right, back to the market. Not all areas in Hamilton are reacting the same. Some neighborhoods are holding their ground while others have clearly shifted into buyer territory. Dundas, which typically holds strong, saw a 9.4% dip in its sales, and also a dip in the average price, which is now about $900,000. Inventory is up, and their months of supply is at about 4.93. Now, if we compare that to Central Hamilton, we're well into buyer's market territory there, with sales dropping 22% compared to the previous time last year, and months of supply went up to 5.27, which, by the way, if you're new here, months of supply is just the amount of time it would take for all the listings that are currently on the market to sell off if no new listings came onto the market. A lower month of supply would be a seller's market, and a higher month of supply would be a buyer's market. So as a buyer, typically for you, it's good if the months of supply is higher. That means that there's more listings on the market and less competition. Anyways, prices in Central Hamilton are down 6.5%, bringing the average to $523,000. The Hamilton Mountain is also in a similar spot, with sales dropping about 14%, bringing the months of supply to about 3.45, and prices are down about 5.4%, bringing the average to $707,000. But the biggest shift we saw by far was in Stony Creek, with sales plummeting by over 35%. The months of supply jumped to over 6 months, and the average sale price dropped by 2.2%, putting the average at about $849,000 in Stony Creek. That level of inventory puts significant leverage in buyers' hands, so if you've been eyeing Stony Creek for a while, now's your chance to get into that market. As a first-time home buyer looking for the most negotiating leverage, I would recommend either Stony Creek, the Hamilton Mountain, or Central Hamilton. These are the areas where the inventory is building up and the seller's price expectations are starting to come back to reality. Meanwhile, the newly re-elected Liberal government has proposed several housing measures aimed at improving affordability. One of them is a GST exemption on newly built or substantially renovated homes under $1 million, which is targeted towards first-time buyers. They've also announced a lot of new spending and budget is going to be put towards affordability-focused developments, with the goal of increasing long-term housing supply and bringing more entry-level homes onto the market. Now, while these policies might sound promising, none of them are active yet. As of right now, these are just proposals. They're not passed legislation, so we don't know when they're going to be passed, if they're going to be passed, what the extent of them is going to be, how smooth the rollout is going to be, how effective they're going to be. So there's a lot of unknowns with this. So I wouldn't be banking on this just yet. Don't wait for policy to save the day. Focus on what we have in front of us right now. Homes are sitting longer on the market. Supply is up and demand is down. This is all the makings of a great deal. And this is when buyers have the most leverage before demand is stirred back up by government incentives. Use this moment to negotiate a deal, not sit back waiting for ideal. We're seeing the amount of rental listings on the market in Hamilton rising, especially in the condo segment. Many of these are smaller entry-level units that were purchased by investors a few years ago, but rising interest rates and plateauing rents have made these units very difficult to cash flow, and now a lot of investors are trying to offload them. We're seeing a large uptick in the amount of tenanted or fully vacant condos on the market right now, and these are both strong signals that the seller is motivated. A tenanted unit usually means that the investor wants out of the landlord game, and a vacant one means that they don't have any rental income coming in from that property and they need to sell it relatively soon to cut their losses. For first-time buyers, these types of listings can represent a fairly unique opportunity. Condos might not be your number one choice, especially ones that have been occupied by tenants. I get it, that might not be ideal, but if affordability is an issue and you've been priced out of detached homes and you want to get into the market, this might be a solid option for you. You got lower prices, you got lower competition, and you have motivated sellers. If you're a first-time buyer trying to get into the market, here's what I'd recommend. Prioritize the listings that have been sitting on the market for at least 30 days. The reason for that is that these sellers have been sitting on the market for a while and they're more fatigued, and therefore they're going to be more likely to negotiate with you. A seller who's only been on the market for 2 days is still quite optimistic and probably unrealistic with their price. These ones also get the most demand from other buyers since they're new. Most of the showings that we see with a listing happens in the first 2 weeks, and the ones that haven't sold past that point, most of the time they're overpriced. Now, don't make the mistake of assuming that a home that's been sitting on the market for more than 30 days has something wrong with it. Like I said, most of the time it's just because it's overpriced. Now, let's say the house does actually have something wrong with it, like the foundation is leaking or the roof is caving in. That's what a home inspection is there for. It'll help you figure out everything that's wrong with the house, if anything, and then if there is something wrong with it, you don't have to buy it. Now, on top of that, you also want to make sure that you have your pre-approval set up before you go looking at homes. This will allow you to act quickly when the right opportunity comes up. Plus, it's going to lock in your rate for the next 90 days. So in the event that rates do go up, you get locked in at that rate that you already had pre-approved for. If you're ready to start your home search in Hamilton, or you just want to get organized, download my free first-time home buyer survival guide. It's linked down in the description below. It'll walk you through every step of the home buying process. It'll show you how to prepare yourself and what mistakes to avoid. Or you can skip that step and book a free call with me directly and ask me any questions that you have. We'll map out a home buying strategy for you that fits your goals, your timeline, and your budget. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. I post new videos like this twice a week geared towards affordability, helping first-time buyers in Hamilton and the surrounding area, and that sort of thing. And you can also check out this video right here for some more Hamilton real estate tips. All right, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.